Come here. Let's narrow down a question. I want to add a slide here. Let's say a new slide in the traditional way, and here it will be. A graded question. I want to put a question here worth 1 point. So, what's the alternative? What do you mean by alternative, Dr. Abdul Rahman? You can go into the basically out and choose a question. I mean, okay, this is what the question looks like, but I graded it as a slide so I can choose the type of question. Because the Kuwaiti newspaper has finally considered that you are seriously not kidding. You want a true or false question, or multiple choice, or fill in the blank, or arrangement, or connection, or arrangement. This is hot. You can take something and place it in an empty space. In geography, ask where a country's capital, or the Mediterranean, or Red Sea is. Geography students and teachers can use the hotspot feature to identify locations in images. Choose a number, order, sequence, or sequence drop. Connect in various ways. We focus on true, false, and multiple choice questions. Include multiple choice and fill in the blank questions, though it gets complicated. Including options makes it challenging. And this is the number format where you choose a number, and this is the ordering as well. Sequence and sequence drop. And this is connecting in different ways. In my department, we focus on 2 types of questions: true, false, and multiple choice. You can have multiple selections in multiple choice questions, and you can also have fill in the blank questions, but it's starting to get a bit complicated. I need to put options here, and this is making things a bit more complicated. Let's take a type of question. I'll cancel this first so you can see the difference between this and the new slide basic, and I'll say question like this. He didn't ask me anything or do anything. He just considered that this is in the invest view. He considered this a question. That's it. There's nothing more to say. This is the question slide. So where are the grades? Where's the information? Where's that information? No, this is where the question and the answer should go, or I should start adjusting it to be a question. But this method is really tedious. I'm going to delete this slide because I didn't like it. I want something that gives me the type of question from the start, because here you also have an insert option, just to be clear. And here we also have from the insert menu, where's the slide? Add slide. For example, I was in home, and this is new slide. The same thing, the same as what we see here. The equation also has more than one option in addition to that. Now, why do I have a number of lists here? There are some options. I can do anything. But the important thing is that in the slide itself, I have a question bank as well. And this is the graded question. There are several slides that are related to each other, but all of this doesn't mean that I have to use this slide. It doesn't mean at all that it's from the basic ones. I really don't like it. Yes, I'll delete it right away. I prefer to right click and choose new slide, then select graded question. I can say this question should be true or false, and then I'll insert the slide. Why do I have a number of lists? There are some options. In the slide itself, I also have a question bank, and this is the graded question. So there are several slides related to each other. But all of this doesn't mean that I have to use this slide. It doesn't mean it's from the basic ones. I really don't like it. Yes, I'll delete it immediately. I prefer to right click and choose new slide, then select graded question. I can say this question should be true or false, and then I'll insert the slide. This doesn't mean that I have to use this slide. It doesn't mean at all that it's from the basic ones. I really don't like it. Yes, I'll delete it right away. I prefer to right-click and choose New Slide, then select Graded Question. I can say this question should be true or false, and then I'll insert the slide, Add Slide. So I've added a slide based on a true-false question. You don't want to write the question right now because this is just a design. Just put a code and say X1, nothing more than that, nothing more than that, and go back to the design. It will tell you X1 true or false. This is just general information, so there's no problem. This is the first question, the first true-false question. Use the duplicate method to copy 4 times, or use the new slide method, go to the Kuwaitian newspaper, choose a multiple choice question, X2. Now, I have X1 and X2. For X3, click new slide, graded question, choose multiple choices, insert X3. I have 1 true false, 2 single choice, and 3 multiple choice questions. Add a 4th true false, and a 5th multiple choice question. You're free, doctor, no problem. I have two questions, one worth 1 point, the other 2 points. For a third question, click New Slide, Graded Question, and choose multiple choices. Insert and call it X3. Each question is labeled X3, indicating multiple answers. I have 1 true, false, 2 single answer, and 3 multiple answer questions. To add a 4th true, false, and a 5th multiple choice, you can add 10, 20, 30, or even 100 questions. My role is more than teaching design. I aim to make you a content expert. Your task is to provide 10 questions. Our department requires 5 true, false, and 5 multiple choice questions. It's not just one answer. There are multiple answers. So I have 1 true, false question, 2 where you choose one answer, and 3 where you can choose more than one answer. These are different types of questions, which is really great. So if you want to add a 4th true, false question and a 5th multiple choice question, you can add 10, 20, 30, or even 100 questions. You're free to do that, doctor. There's no problem. We say in our standards that my role here is more than just teaching you design. I want to teach you to be a content expert. So your role is to put in 10 questions to make it easier for me in the e-learning and information technology department. Our department requires you to provide 5 true-false questions and 5 multiple choice questions. Even the multiple choice has only one answer, not multiple answers. These are our standards. Think outside the box. Use connections. Standardize questions. True, false, and multiple choice. In e-learning, that's fine. Results from 4 questions, not 3. Dislike odd numbers. Passing is 50%, answer 2. Avoid odd numbers for accuracy. Half of 4 is 2. With 3, half is 2, causing disagreements. Support even numbers, 2. All right, so I want to get results from these 3 questions, but let's make it 4. Sorry, I don't like odd numbers. If I say that passing is 50%, then they must answer 2 questions because there are 3, and 1 question doesn't count. I prefer even numbers. And when you create a question bank, avoid odd numbers. Keep it even. This is to ensure that the results screen is accurate. If I say 50%, then half of 4 is 2. But if there are 3, then half of that will also be 2. So the student might argue with you, there could be a disagreement and you can't guarantee it. So I support having an even number of questions. What do you think? 2. To ensure the results screen is accurate, if I say 50%, then half of 4 is 2. But if there are 3, then half of that will also be 2. So the student might argue with you, there could be a disagreement and you can't guarantee it. So I support having an even number of questions. What do you think too? I'll add another graded question about connections and insert a slide. Now I have the 4th question, scene 4, about connections. The results screen is left because there are 4 grades. If they score 75% or 3 out of 4, they pass. Each slide is worth 25%. Pass students with 75, 50, 100, or 25. Divide 100 by the number of slides to find the percentage. If criteria say 50%, that's 2 slides. Results screen, 4 grades. 75%, 3 of 4 to pass. Grades are 100%. Each slide, 25%. Pass with 75, 50, 100, or 25. 30 doesn't fit. Divide 100 by slides for percentage. 50% is 2 slides. 80% or 90%, 75% is similar. Be precise. Divide 100 by number and round. We do this in work. Creating results slide. Each slide is worth 25%. Pass students with 75, 50, 100, or 25. Divide 100 by the number of slides to get the percentage. If criteria say 50%, that's 2 slides. For 80 or 90%, 75% is the same. Be precise. Divide 100 by the number and round it. I need a results slide, so create a new one. The results slide shows graded, survey, or blank options. Choose graded for quiz or exam questions. Grades will be recorded in Blackboard. I need to record these grades correctly. Insert slide. If it says 80% or 90%, then 75% is the same. So let's be very precise. You divide the 100 by the number and round it off. This is something we do in our work anyway. So I need the results slide to be there. So I'm telling it to create a new results slide. Your result shows if it's graded, survey, or blank for design. I need graded data. These are quiz or exam questions, not a survey. Grades will be recorded in Blackboard correctly. It shows what grades are collected. Is there a question without a grade? Some questions or tests can be separate. Some professors ask about including a question without a grade. It's not necessary. You can make a test, pass, fail, but this might expose you later. I don't recommend it because if a question is ungraded, a student might say, I answered this one. Why no grade? You'd say, this is a pass-fail question. So I would get involved with the student. It shows what grades will be collected with you. Is there a question among these four that doesn't have a grade? Per national testing standards, there can be some questions or some separate tests. Professors ask how to include ungraded questions. You can make ungraded pass-fail tests or assignments. It could be a pass-fail question. If a question is ungraded, a student might say, why no grade? You say, this is a pass-fail question. It could be a completion or non-completion question. It might be a question among the questions that is about completion or non-completion, but this could expose you in the future. I don't recommend it because if you leave a question without a grade in a test, a student might come and say, I didn't answer all of these, but I answered this one. Why didn't you give me a grade? You would say, oh, this is a test. This is a completion or non-completion question. Then I would get into a dispute with the student. Student in a quarrel and regulations and why don't you give him a grade? No, but why did you repeat the question? Did you come to the question that the student knows? So why am I bothering myself? These questions are at this level, and the assignment that doesn't have a grade is considered complete. It doesn't have a grade. I also advise the professors that due to regulations and percentages, when you create a test, don't leave any question without a grade to avoid any legal disputes or arguments later on. All right, great. So I have the questions. Success, does it mean 80%? No, it doesn't mean anything. I'm telling him that passing is at 75%. 3 slides out of the 4, because 80% here doesn't mean anything. 80 could make sense if there are 10 questions and he answers 8 and doesn't answer 2. So 8, okay, it looks nice. But here, 75% is what confirms the guidance for me. What is 75 is 80, by the way? If I wrote 80, is that wrong? If I wrote 90, is that wrong? If I wrote 99, is that wrong? From 75 to 99, they answered 3 slides. Same, it's 99%, but it doesn't look good. 99% and they didn't answer one of the 4 slides? No, the correct answer here is to write 75%. Is that clear? Okay, we say okay here, 75%. We say okay, and this is my slide. Let's see the result story. Where did I get this from? You see the test plan? See, first, second, third, fourth in result. And if I want to retake the test, if I try to retake the test, okay, what do you mean? We say that they are equivalent to 4 questions. Okay, we say okay. Here 75%, we say okay. And this is my slide. Let's see what the story of the result looks like. Where did I get this from? You see the test plan. Look how beautiful it is. The first question, the second, the third, the fourth in the result. And if I want to retake the test, if I try to retake the test, it takes you back to the first question again, all right? So the slide I put for the test is just an introduction or a preface for the student, telling them, dear student, you will now begin the test. It's just a preface for the student or an entry or cover for the test. Now let's take a look at the design. It takes you back to the first question again, all right? So the slide I put for the test is just an introduction or a preface for the student, telling them, dear student, you will now begin the test. It's just a preface for the student or an entry or cover for the test. Now let's take a look at the design. The design, this is for the test. I'll take a screenshot of it and send it to you via WhatsApp because this is the test design hierarchy that shows you how the significance flows between the questions and the results. I put it for you. Just click on the image and you'll find it. What? Between.